Whenever he was with Abraham, Lot remained blessed. And therefore it was wise for him to follow the blessing. He followed the blessing. And so he left with Abraham. The Bible tells us that Lot also had become rich. He was wealthy now. He was wealthy in livestock. He was wealthy in land, servants, and silver and gold, just like Abraham. Why? Because he was connected to the blessing. He was connected to the covering. He was connected to the grace covering of Abraham. And so Lot followed the blessing. Lot was blessed by association. Lot was blessed by association. Because of Abraham, because of being under the covering of Abraham, because of being under the grace of Abraham, Lot was blessed. I am emphatic on this, Bazalwane, because I want to say to you, there are people in your life that you should never carelessly separate yourself from. There are people that you are not to carelessly separate yourself from. Do whatever you can, whatever is possible for you to preserve that relationship with those people. It's going to need discernment though. It's going to need wisdom for you to understand that there are people that you cannot just separate yourself from, at least not yet. You're going to need to discern the kinds of relationship that you're going to have to value in your life. Not all people that are sent to your life are ordinary. Not all relationships that are around you are just ordinary relationships. Other people are planted in your life by God because there's a purpose that has to be served. It's either you are going to serve a purpose in that person's life, or that person's life is here to serve a purpose in your life. You're going to need to be able to discern that there are certain people that you cannot carelessly separate yourself from. God sends people in your life. He sends people to your life to fulfill his purpose for you. Because even that purpose that these people are here to fulfill in your life, it is not theirs. It is God's purpose. Some of them, they come into your life, they don't even know that they are carrying a mandate. There is a mandate that God placed them there. I always say when I talk about this, and I say God is a strategist. God strategically puts certain people in your life because there is his divine purpose for you that you would not be able to fulfill by yourself. You would not be able to fulfill it on your own. And so what does God do? He sends somebody to fulfill that mandate. And so it is important that you discern the people that are around you. Sometimes it is very easy to see a person that you can tell that this one is not here by chance. But it's going to take you connection with God in order for you to discern, connection with God in order for you to apply God's wisdom. Because we got wisdom from his presence. With the time that we spend in God's presence, that is where we are able to draw wisdom from him. That is there we are able to get guidance. You are not going to be able to have God's guidance when you are far away from him. You get God's guidance when you dwell in his presence. Just like Abraham, God sends other people to you so that you fulfill his divine purpose through you to those people. So to other people, you play the role of Abraham. But to other people, you are a lot. And it's going to take discernment, it's going to take God's wisdom for you to be able to discern who is who. Blessed by association. Blessed by association. It's a thing. It's a reality. Blessed by association. Sometimes this phenomenon of being blessed by association, it is through people. Some of you may already have experienced it. A person who called you and say, hey, I saw these job opportunities, please apply. Sinesipo, the title is Blessed by Association. That's the title of the sermon. Somebody will nudge you and say, hey, I saw some positions, please apply. And that person becomes a conduit for you. And sometimes that association becomes a geographical place, a geographical area that you land into. Somehow your life, God orchestrates it, that you find yourself in a certain area. Like I said, God is a strategist. So strategically, he places you in a specific area, only to find out down the line that that's where your blessing was. Your blessing was in that specific area. Once you land in that specific area, then everything about your life starts to flourish. Everything about your life starts to open up. Doors just open. It's like there's a light that just got switched on by the mere fact that you landed in that space, in that area. You had to be associated with that space. Being blessed by association. So, do not ever underestimate everybody that is around. Not everyone, but there are people that are strategically placed into your life for a purpose that is there to serve you. A purpose that God has orchestrated, that for this purpose to happen around your space, I need to send you this person. I need to send you this person. And even those people who are sent in that space, they don't even know how it was that they found themselves there. But somehow they stumble upon you and they stay. Because God had a purpose that needed to be fulfilled. Most of the time, those people are sometimes strangers. Most of the time, actually. It's people that are not even related to you by blood. And God will send those people to you. So be careful how you treat the people that are around you. You have to apply discernment when you treat people that are around you. You have to apply discernment. You have to apply wisdom when you treat people that you have just met. By circumstances that you don't even know, but this person you just crossed paths with these people. You have to apply discernment. This is true because even in the Bible, major blessings in the Bible were transferred through a person. If you look at the scriptures, back in memorial, you look at the scriptures, the biggest blessings that happen, the breakthroughs that happen for people in the Bible, they were transferred through a person. And I had to look at a few examples for you of those people who were blessed by association. One example of the people that got blessed mightily Immediately they got blessed, but they got blessed by association. Is the story of Ruth and Naomi. Ruth eventually got blessed because she was associated with Naomi. Yes, there was Boaz in the picture as well, but Ruth was blessed by association. The other example for you of a person in the Bible who got blessed by association, you look at the story of, you will find the story of Ruth and Naomi in the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1, you can read the entire book of Ruth. You can read the entire Ruth chapter 1. That's where you will find the story of Ruth and Naomi. And that is where you will see how Ruth ended up being blessed because she was associated to Naomi. The other story is the story of Elijah and Elisha. Elijah and Elisha. Elisha was told to go, and Elisha refused. And Elisha ended up inheriting a double portion because of he was blessed by association, because of Elijah. Elisha was blessed by association. Another story that I want to bring to your attention of being blessed by association is the story of Esther. Esther, who was even the wrong nationality. Esther was even the wrong nationality, but when God is ready to bless you, nothing else matters. There is nothing that will stop God from blessing a person that he has set his sight on for a blessing. According to the story of Esther in the Bible, Esther had no business being there. She was even the wrong nationality. Esther, Mordecai, and King Xerxes. Esther got blessed. She ended up being the queen of Persia by association. God uses people. God will send people in your life to bless you. God will send people to use them in order for your elevation. Do not think that the elevation that you are due for, the elevation that you are waiting for, the promotion that you are waiting for, the big breakthrough, the blessing that you are waiting for, do not think that you are going to orchestrate it by yourself and you're going to do it with your power, with your wisdom and all of that. No, God is going to send a person. Most of the time, he sends a person. And what is important for you is to be able to discern who is who around you, so that you do not treat the relationships with people that God has put around you, you do not treat those relationships carelessly. Another example of a person whom God used to bless other people was Joseph. The same Joseph who stayed in the prison. When Joseph arrived in Potiphar's house got blessed because Joseph was there. Because of Joseph's presence in his house, Potiphar's house got blessed. When Joseph arrived in Pharaoh's palace, the entire nation prospered. Blessed by association. The entire nation prospered when Joseph arrived in Pharaoh's palace. Do not underestimate the presence of certain people in your life. You need to examine the relationships of the people that are around you so that you treat people with care. Because other people are not just there. Other people are there because God has placed them in your life for your good. Yes, Andy, it will be on YouTube. It will be uploaded on YouTube. Some people are there because God has planted them in your life for your good. You've got to treat people well. You've got to discern and you've got to apply wisdom. Blessed says my network is problematic. Can you confirm? Is it my network or is it her network? Because it seems like things are fine from my side. Can somebody confirm if my network is okay? So be very careful. Okay, blessed, they say it's your network. My network is fine. So you see the list of people. God, whenever God was doing a major blessing in the Bible, he used a person to bless a person. The list is endless, Bazalwana. Look at what God did. Look at what happened to Mephibosheth. Thank you, Nowezan. Thank you. Thank you, Tolega. Look at Mephibosheth. Look at the widow. God sent a prophet to the widow. And so you see this phenomenon of being blessed by association. Even big business apply it because they know. Even big business apply because they know. Even big businesses, even today, they apply that principle of association because they know. How much more us? Abazalwan. Thank you, blessed. Blessed, I understand what you are saying. My blessed one, thank you. Even big business, they understand this. Why am I saying this? Big businesses, they will always be an element of collaboration. If you have looked at businesses, they will have an element of collaboration, of partnerships. They collaborate. They partner. They partner. And an example that I'm going to give you of this, when we think of I'm using big companies that we all know. When we think of Microsoft, all of us, because Microsoft is a system that is used by most of us here. When we think of Microsoft, the person that comes to mind is Bill Gates. All of us, we think of Bill Gates when we think of Microsoft, but let me tell you, Microsoft wouldn't be Microsoft if there was not another guy called Paul Allen. Paul Allen. So Bill Gates partnered with Paul Allen in order for Microsoft to be the Microsoft that it is today. I'm told when I read their story, Paul Allen was this geek when it comes to software, to not software, hardware. You know, building these things and putting them together. And Bill Gates was this person about the software and all of that. And together, Microsoft was born. This is an association. This is a collaboration. Another story of an example that I want to show you of how success happens because of association is the story of Apple. I'm using these companies that we know because most of us, we use these things. Everybody wants to have an Apple iPhone. We want to have an Apple MacBook and all of that Apple. Everyone, when we think of Apple, we think of Steve Jobs. May his soul rest in peace. We think of Steve Jobs. But he did not do it alone. Next to Steve Jobs, there was a guy called Steve Wozniak. And together, what the story says, they did it in a garage of Steve Jobs' parents. A garage. A garage. That's where Apple was birthed. This big company that it is today, that it has even proceeded long after even Steve Jobs passed away. They started it in a garage. 2 friends, 2 chomis who went together. And so I'm showing you that even business, they understand the story of being blessed by association. And the question that I have for you today is, who have you carelessly removed yourself from? When you look back in your life and now you start to think, now that we are talking about this, who have you carelessly removed yourself from? Because today we are quick at discarding people. People are disposable nowadays. We use terms like, oh no, we don't vibe. We don't vibe. I don't feel their energy. Don't feel their energy. Have you consulted with God? People are disposable today. We discard them. We don't value people. But I'm here to remind you that there are people that are strategically been sent to your life for a purpose, for God's purpose. And then you say, I've cut so and so off. I've cut them off. I've cut them off. And then you wonder, there are things that just do not happen. I've been pushing, I've been trying this and trying that and trying that, and you do not know that the person that was here to help you, you discarded them. The person that God had sent to your life. And sometimes we discard people because they do not look the way we want to be seen around. They don't carry your vibe. They are not fashionistas like you would like them to be. Or other people are too much of a fashionista for you. Oh no, I don't associate with people like this. Remember, I'm saying to you, it is not everyone. Understand me, I'm not saying that you should be collecting crowds every left and right and center. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you also need to be able to discern people that have been sent. And the only way you're going to be able to discern that is when you connect yourself with God's will, when you stay in God's presence, when you seek Him for guidance, when you seek His wisdom. You're going to be able to, because some of these things, your own wisdom is not going to help you. Your own insight is not going to help you. Because most of the time, these people that God sends to you, they come not the way that you expected them to show up. And so you think you don't relate, or you don't vibe with them. Yes, there are grounds that people end up separating, others end up divorcing, and so on and so forth, with their valid reasons that are valid to them. But there are spouses who have separated or ended up divorcing for trivial reasons. Whether it's a spouse, whether it's your baby mama or your baby daddy, you end up separating for trivial reasons. I'm sure you've also seen stories like that where they end up, apart. And God forbid, that's not what I want for you or any one of us here. And people do that, they end up apart. And as soon as that happens, all hell breaks loose. Then umuntu uzothi hayi ndithakathiwe. All hell breaks loose after the separation. Kudilike izinto, things that they were trying to build together, zidilike ziwe phansi. Why? Because the other one has left the covering. The other one has left that grace covering that was there, because other people are sent to your life because of a specific divine purpose that God needed to fulfill in either of your lives. God sent that person for you, and they became your spouse, and you went together into holy matrimony. And then the moment you disband all of that, all hell breaks loose. Things fall apart because you are no longer in the covering of the person that you were supposed to be with. You have left the blessing. Lot understood this, that I have to follow the blessing. You left the blessing. When you leave the blessing, all hell breaks loose. We saw with Lot. The first decision that he took for himself after he left the covering, it led him to Sodom and Gomorrah. The first decision that he made for himself. The choice he made. Remember when he chose, he said, that way, this is where I'm going. That was the first decision that he made for himself outside of the covering. And that became the decision that even led him to losing his own family. Because the Bible tells us about what happened to his wife. Some people are placed in your life for your destiny. Some people are placed in your life for a prophetic connection. A divine connection that can only be orchestrated ngamazulu. And those people are placed there in your life. And what do? You discard them. You discard them. Cut them off. They become disposable. You throw them out because they don't vibe with you. Because your energy does not, the energy that does not match. Did you consult God? Did you apply wisdom? Did you apply discernment? Or your energy became the deciding factor? The vibe became the deciding factor for you. Let me tell you something.